I see the same problem I had with being a Crip, with being a Mgtow. Crips were people who were ambiguous about what they were doing, as long as it was cool, um, and they benefited from it, and they had quote unquote fun while doing it. Same thing with the MGTOWs. As long as it feeds into hating women and getting even with women, they don't really care what happens. And you're starting to see a majority of MGTOWs starting to take a homosexual stance, a pro-homosexual stance. And they'll justify it all sorts of ways, completely ignoring the main allies of feminism are homosexuals. The main people who push the feminist movement are lesbians, LGBT community people. They seem to think that this homosexual revolution is good for MGTOW and it's good for society, and it's a positive sexual revolution when it's not. The homosexuals are some of the main people behind the Masonic agenda, and it could be no other way. Many people will say, you know, what has the Baphomet got to do with it? Just today I saw a movie about people searching for a Baphomet idol in a mental institution. You know, Levi and Shrek and, you know, the OTO and the Golden Dawn and all these Satanist movements include the Baphomet in their symbolism, in their ideology. To say that the Baphomet is not a relevant idol is just stupidity. Even the Knights Templar were said to have worshipped the Baphomet. And Knights Templars are a degree in Masonry. So to say that this has nothing to do with it is just completely foolish. The high-level Satanists all believe in Baphomet, and it's a dual gender. It makes it quite clear, you know, the type of people that worship this, you know, feminists, Satanists, what have you. Well, anyway, with that being said, ask yourself, why do all these secret society movements, why do all these political movements have two things in common? One, they either explain secret societies in a way that is beneficial to the desired effect of the secret society agenda, or they downplay or criticize the idea of the conspiracy that involves secret societies. It's funny how that works. If you look at how the banking system went, and when the bankers, you know, bankrupt all the banks and they crashed them and they bought them up for pennies on the dollar, you know, it was to control the system. They control the modes of production. You know, it's a strategic takeover. Their supply line is, you know, the economic powerhouses in society, the corporations, the banking system, the legislators. It's strategic for them to control these things to keep doing what they're doing. So I don't see any way to address the problem other than going to war, because no movement will ever be successful against them, you know, unless it was planned that way for the ultimate desired effects. Then it's truly not successful against them. They intend to have a variety of religions, not only to divide people, but to help them with their New Age religion, which involves taking what all these religions have in common, the commonalities. So, you know, this is why I'm going to stop putting Mgtow videos up. This is my last one. I was hoping that I could wake them up to the idea that homosexuality and feminism are the enemy, secret societies are the enemy. Some Mgtows see it my way, but the majority of them don't. And, you know, it's like being part of a political party when only, you know, 0.001% see it your way, and the rest of the political party is doing something that you don't approve of. You know, what's the logical step to take? Is to stop being part of that. So, you know, men going their own way is really men going the secret society's way and promoting the homosexual agenda. It's sad. There's a lot of things that they're right about, just like in every movement they have. There's things that they're right about, and there's things that they're going to go back to when their other ideas are questioned. They'll go back to the core principles that are correct, and then when they feel comfortable again, they'll go back to pushing the agenda. There's no other way to beat these people than to go to war. And the people in denial, who are either too stupid to see it or are playing stupid because they think it's in their best interest, completely disgust me. I would compare it to a family seeing a child getting raped in front of them, right? And a lot of people see it. And then there's people who say, well, no, I didn't see nothing. But you know they saw it. And there's people who really are just so fucking ignorant, somehow they missed it, And, so then we go to the church in town, for example. And it gets brought up in church, We say, well, we have this problem where, that this child is getting raped every Tuesday. And then George stands up and says, oh, I don't see it, And then Bob stands up and says, oh, I was there, I didn't see it. And then Jake and Leonard and all these people, they go, no, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing, These people, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're paranoid. That's what's going on in society. Little kids are getting raped. We're getting raped figuratively. They're raping men in prisons, raping women, fucking in fraternities and parties and on and on and on in the military. And everybody is playing stupid about how it's all connected, how it was designed this way. You have some people that see it and they're trying to explain it, and then you got a bunch of bootlickers saying, well, I don't see that. That's paranoid, And so, since we can't execute the completely ignorant and those in denial, we have to go after the problem at its source. That's the only logical solution to this, is war, surgical strikes against the source of the problem. It's sad that homosexuals have their hands in everything. As much as I hate to bring it up, Sandman does come off as a effeminate, bisexual or homosexual, his voice. There's a lot of things I agree with him on, but I can't help but notice that, especially coupled with his pro-homosexual views. He thinks LGBT is good for society. He believes in population control. He's made videos where he talks about how, less population means more animals and, and nature, and talks about how much he likes nature. And a lot of these nature people, talk about the same things, population control to save nature. A lot of these Buddhists, Taoists, Hindus, they talk about the same thing, They talk about be vegan, save the planet. Well, guess how? They want you to save the planet, It's funny how the countries with the biggest populations of all are the ones who are pushing the religions that believe in population control perhaps the most. They filled up the planet, and now they say, oh, well, everyone else, kind of limit your populations. It's kind of interesting. But don't think that makes the West or Israel any more innocent. They're complete, sellouts. The only really salvageable religions I see from studying a lot of different religions, as far as major religions, are African traditions, Islam in its pure form, and Christianity in its pure form. Everything else, I'm very questionable about. Because if you look at the Native American religions, right, what are the popular ones? What are the ones that, are practiced and talked about the most? The Aztecs, the Mayans, people that sacrifice people that have pagan calendars and serpent gods, and, and just questionable practices and rituals in general. And this is how it ties in the Mexican mafia to the occult system. Don't think for 1 second occultists have something against Mayans or Aztecs. It's actually the opposite. They're actually quite pro-Mayan, quite pro-Aztec. Just like they have nothing against, the Norse religions and the Scandinavians and the Vikings. They like the idea of Valhalla and Odin and Thor. They have nothing against these things at all. They include it in their Marvel comics. And at the same time, don't think that magically the secret societies avoided the black movements. As the Jews always want to point out to me whenever they don't like my Palestinian stance, They say, well, some of the main people who supported the black civil rights movements were Jews. It's because they had an agenda, not because they cared about black people. You know, yes, there was individual Jews who believed in certain things, but I'd say the vast majority of the main players were secret society affiliated with an agenda. Um, and it's quite sad the way this works. They use that against you too. So we did this for you. How are you gonna say something that offends us? They're playing the old victim card, the pity card, um, the we helped you card. So be silent in the face of evil, because we helped you guys out. So yeah, I think that my solutions are the best. And before I even started talking about converting to Islam, I was talking about going to war with these people. And it wasn't because there's other logical ways. It was very logical to me that that was the only logical way, the only effective way to really war with these people. And it's sad that people don't see it that way. It's sad that they don't grasp that. You'll hear people, in my race relations class, for example, they said that, oh, you should team up with other disenfranchised peoples, completely missing the fact that that is what the secret societies want you to do. Because when you start doing that and your movement gets big, either they helped you start it or they're going to take it over. There is no political movement to defeat the secret society structure. You can defeat the problems that they meant for you to defeat in a way that was favorable to them in the first place, such as, you might be able to defeat Israel in the occupation of Palestine. I don't know, probably not, but it's possible. And if it does happen, it's going to be in a way that they wanted it to happen anyway. You might be able to defeat, racism in some small town or something, things that they don't truly care about, that don't really matter to the bigger picture and their bigger agenda. You have no idea how much money and time these people spend. They take time out of their day to gang stalk people. There's another thing that people see and people play stupid about. They take time out of their day to support political movements, help them take off, and continue supporting them. They pay people. It's just a lot of you who've been watching these videos, my videos, you pretty much come to these conclusions by now when you add up all the things I've been telling you. But I can't stress enough how these things need to get out there. And when you see me, in my past videos supporting Crip and Mgtow, it wasn't that I didn't know that they were controlled. It was I was trying to change the direction of it. It's the same thing with being a jihadist. Not that I don't know that a lot of the jihadist movements are controlled and are funded, and there's deals under the table and behind the scenes with the West and Israel. It's because I'm trying to change the direction of it. Because I see when people mean well, and a majority of people are being fooled and aren't in secret societies, and they're parts of these movements, you can get them to think, because they're already believing in certain principles that these movements have brought into their attention, or that have emphasized to get them on their side, which creates a group of people who feel strongly about certain things. And so there's a chance, there's a certain capacity to reason with these people and to get them to do the right thing, not to abandon those principles. On the contrary, to truly pursue those principles, and follow that train of thought to its finish. I made this video a lot longer than I wanted to, so I'm just going to end it here. Thank you.